Good morning, Miami. My name is Manny Sarmiento. I'm the CEO and president of the Doral Chamber of Commerce. I want to welcome you. I want to thank the Miller family of Miami's community newspapers, an amazing publication with over 12 different publications to say. In the audience, we have our lovely Vice President, Carmen Lopez. We got to bring her up here one day. I'm going to interview her one day. And our amazing producer, Tommy, with the Marlins. All right. A great show that Tommy produces here. Want to remind you, June 23rd, which is in just a few days, we have our second live event after past the pandemic. It's going to be at K1 Speed. So we're going to network with many professionals. We're going to have some light lunch and we're going to race. So that's going to be one of our amazing and wonderful Doral Chamber of Commerce events. Go to doralchamber.org. We are looking for sponsors for Taste of Doral coming up in July, featuring the best of dining, food, dining, drink, entertainment in the city of Doral and beyond. So I want to welcome you. I also want to thank Insight for sponsoring many of our events. And once again, Miami's community newspapers, thank you for being here. We have an amazing guest today. She is the wonderful, the great, the lovely, the incredible Cristi Fraga, previous council person and 3 years vice mayor with the city of Doral. I think, in my opinion, you were just about one of the best up there. Appreciate you because you were always looking out for the cities, really looking out for the city, the residents, the businesses. Appreciate you very much. And now, once again, you were doing it with the city of Doral, but now you're doing it with Miami-Dade County Public Schools. You're taking care of our children, which is one of the most important jobs, I believe, that any public servant can have, is to be on the school board and really make the decisions that affect our kids. So thank you for doing that. But I want to ask you, Cristi, tell me, how was that transition like going from a city of Doral to being a board member, Miami-Dade County Public Schools? Tell us about that.
Thank you, Manny. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I love to be here with you, the Doral Chamber and community newspaper, who's always been such a great platform to be able to communicate with the community. So I thank you all for inviting me, and I look forward to coming many, many times. So it's been an incredible transition. I love what I do because I do what I love, which is serve our community. But it's definitely been different to go from municipal government to an organization that is as large as Miami-Dade County Public Schools. There is a lot of layers to that onion that you have to peel back, some which I've been able to, some which I cry every time and I can't get it done. I can't get them open. So it's an incredible opportunity. I'm so grateful for this opportunity to serve our community at the school board because I've learned so much. You know, one of the pushbacks I got coming from municipal government was that I don't come from academia. I don't come from an academic background. So running for school board, usually you see teachers and things like that running in this position. And I wanted to represent our parents and be that voice. And the reason I got involved in all this is because of the work I did in Doral. We opened 7 schools in Doral while I was a councilwoman. Really unheard of in a community like ours. And now we just got 2 more between charter public and private schools. But the growth has just been, incredible. And I got very involved and created great relationships, not just within our schools, but with the parents, the PTA members.
I saw what you did there. Let me tell you, you were so involved in the schools with PTSAs, the openings of the schools.
Yeah.
You made the decisions that were really, you really cared. You could see that. I know you're a mom, wife. You've been in the school system through our kids, through the PTSAs and the programs you've done. You have an amazing yearly event.
Yeah, we have a big event every year for our PTAs, parent volunteers, and our educators. They're hosted by the Intercontinental, where we come together as a community. And I've brought speakers from cybersecurity experts. I had a gentleman from the FBI who focused on gangs, like cyber gangs, recruiting kids. So for parents who have children who have social media, there's a way to be involved and know what your children are doing without being invasive in their privacy, because I know that that's important to build trust with your children. So we brought an expert on that in 2019. Unfortunately, I couldn't have my event last year because of COVID, but everything happens for a reason. So I didn't have support from the city, so I couldn't really do it virtually. It's just too many tools that were the required and resources to be able to do a virtual event like the one we hosted. So I was in the middle of a campaign, so we weren't able to do it. But this year we're coming back bigger and stronger. We're gonna have some amazing speakers, which I can't reveal just yet who they are. I have to get the final approvals, but we are going to be having a wonderful event. And so we bring resources for the community. I've had college readiness experts, nutrition experts, mental health experts to come and speak at our events for the parents. So that's how I got involved and kind of got pulled into running for this position. I wasn't one of those,
but you said something. I want to step back. You said something that was, and this is one of the things I want to discuss with you today. You said you didn't have support from the city for such an amazing event, because I went to one of those. You didn't have support from the city. Can you please explain and elaborate on that one?
Well, I've had that event for 7 years now, and originally we started just at a small group of 48 parents, and it grew. We had over 100 parents. We did it 2 years in a row.
You took the whole ballroom.
Right. Well, we did it 2 years in a row in City Hall, and then when there was the administration change, I was told I could not use City Hall anymore. So the Intercontinental stepped up.
That's ours. City Hall is ours.
Yeah. Well, the Intercontinental stepped up, and they allowed me to do it at their venue, and it turned out to be a much better opportunity and venue for us to grow.
That was Randall's
yeah,
a good guy.
They're great people.
Good for the community.
So we were able to do it at the Intercontinental, and they posted us there every year since. And so yeah, the city always saw it as like not a priority or not an event. It wasn't an official event of the city. So I did it all myself. I pulled money out of my pocket to be able to do this event for our community every year. And I had great sponsors too that always helped out. So we are happy that we were able to do it, and we are happy that we will continue to do it. I now have the support to do it from my current position. So we're going to continue to host that event for the community. Now it's not just Doral, it's the entire district of District 5, but we know the importance of providing these resources to the community. I know the importance of providing these resources to the community.
Yes, okay.
So we are excited to be able to host this. But during my time in Doral, I got very involved in something that I believed was the heart of our community, which was the schools. But I still get emails all the time of people asking me for help in Doral, whether it's a permit or a park issue or whatever it is. And people in Doral can vouch for me on this. I send emails still to the to the city and help people in our community. I really believe my role as constituent services is just that. I'm a resource to the community to help. Obviously, I make legislative decisions that are very important that impact our community, but I really believe in servicing our community as an elected official. And I've always done that, and it comes naturally to me. I enjoy
who are you reaching out
people.
to? Because there's nobody there anymore. How many people have we lost in the city? Amazing people that have been there the entire life of the city, and probably before that, and they keep resigning. What's going on there?
Yeah, so it's unfortunate. We have lost a lot of great individuals, professionals in the city of Doral. I think that when people leave, especially in these high level paying positions, no one leaves because they're happy. These individuals are making anywhere between $90,000 to $120,000 with great benefits that are provided at the city. No one leaves because they're happy. So I think what happens in these positions is these individuals, and I know them personally, they're great friends, they're great professionals. They leave to work in other government, right? They want to work in the same industry. They are government professionals. So, you don't want to leave with that bad,
so they don't tell us.
So they resign. They resign to go on. And I would say not always for better opportunities, because we had people that left to make less money. We had people who left without another job. So it's unfortunate. I think that happens when there's when people are not seeing eye to eye with administration, or there's a lack of leadership. I think that's what happens. We still have great people in the city, but we lost some tremendous professionals that had been with us for 14, 15 years that had a lot of historical knowledge and experience. But they not only worked in Doral, but lived in Doral. So with those other employees that leave, I think that obviously leadership, or maybe not the culture within City Hall that changes, may be a factor, but sometimes in those positions they leave for better paying jobs. The private sector is very competitive. So yes, it's been a big number. I don't know, when I had left it was about almost 200. And now there's been
200 people in a term of in the length of 2 years, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now that's crazy, and you cannot explain that as normal. Now, you said you didn't get the support from the city. So let me explain something to you, and let's make this public right here, because I've said it to many people and we've had the discussions, but we don't get the support of the city. Unfortunately, and fortunately, it was with the chaos that we saw, and everybody wants to blame Luigi Boria for that, but we had other things going on there, like Crazy Joe, not a fan of this show. But the only person that actually gave us support was Sandra Ruiz when she was there, you, and Luigi Boria, which is amazing. And now why doesn't this city support the people that make a difference? Like you were making a difference, and I saw that. And anybody who had clear eyes and didn't have resentment and hate could see what you did for this city. You were the only one that stood up to things. You were the only one that stood up to Trump when we had the beauty show or whatever. You were the only one that didn't go to all the events because you said that was not right. They should be paying.
Well, I don't believe in hypocrisy, to be quite frank.
No, and I saw that
when I stood up for that, and this was not because I got a lot of pushback on this during the campaign. This was not a vote against Donald Trump. He was not.
It's not.
He was not the president.
I voted for Trump. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he was not a president. He was not the president-elect. This was in 2014. He was a business owner in our community asking for a lot of money for a beauty pageant. And by the way, I'm a beauty pageant. I mean, I used to be in beauty pageants, when I was young. So it's not against the beauty pageants. I think they do great things for women in certain aspects. And now they provide scholarships and everything. But it was about what was right for our city. And by the way, him as a president, I think he would have agreed with me.
Yeah.
It was a waste of taxpayer dollars.
The pageant wasn't held in Doral.
It wasn't held in Doral. It was a waste of taxpayer dollars because, it was, that money would have been better spent in our parks. Look, we now have $150 million bond, so it was better spent in our parks and our roads and things like that. And so I stood up for that. And I really believed that I did the right thing. And by the way, in that time, he used to call me on my cell phone and he would tell me, I respect you for making that decision. Even though I went at it with him, really, that was media. Media tried to create
once again,
this fight.
But you said,
there really was no
no
fight. I said no, and I was not going to reap the benefits of going to these events with celebrities and all this thing when I voted against it. And I wanted to stand my ground on that. And I said that this was not a boycott. It was just, I'm not one of those to say I'm going to vote no for the publicity, but then I'm going to reap the benefit. So that's why I stood my ground there. I
talked about overdevelopment when I was running for mayor this last campaign. And I feel that once all of those units in downtown Doral get built, we don't have the infrastructures. We don't have the roads for those people to go anywhere. What has happened? Because the current administration, Bermudez, wants to blame the Boria administration. But Boria, I understand, only had approved 4 projects during his 4 years. And
no, we approved more than that. But you got to look at it in terms of units. So before the city became, and I have the statistics, I can forward them to you. Before the city became a city, there was like 23,000 units approved. That's not just a condo. We're talking about homes too. Then when the city incorporated, you had a major growth, right? Because now it was a city that people wanted to come to. There was opportunity that was seen by these developers. Rightfully so. Look at the beautiful city we have today. So there was a huge spark in our trend, I would say, in approvals, right? As the city started to develop. And so I want to say it was about 15,000 units additional that got approved from, let's say, 2003 to about 2010, 2011. Then we had the economic downturn, right, in 2008. So we saw a decline, right? And then in 2012, although Doral didn't feel it as much, because we were getting a lot of that South American, immigration, people who had resources that wanted to bring it to the community and buy these homes. So we didn't feel it as much, but there was a slowdown. And like, for example, Midtown Doral, all of those approvals have been since before any of us. We're talking about like 2007, 2006. I don't have the exact dates and I don't like to talk without numbers in front of me.
That's way overdeveloped. That reminds me of Kendall back in the 80s. It hasn't even been
developed. It hasn't actually been built.
What happens? We're not widening 87th Avenue.
Because that's 107th Avenue.
107th.
Yeah. So that's right.
So we're not widening
what happens is the properties have changed, but the development rights still continue. So there hasn't been that development at this time, but it is planned to be developed. Once someone has zoning rights, you can't take those rights away from them.
I understand that.
So downtown Doral actually went through several processes. It was in a lawsuit. The White Courts went to a lawsuit because they tried to not allow it to be developed. We lost the lawsuit, and it's got density for downtown use. It was always supposed to be a downtown area. So there is still development that is continuing there, but it's unfair to blame any one person for the development in Doral. These master plans were approved back in 2007, 2005. The vision for Doral has not changed.
So what did
since 2005, 2007. The problem is that, people use things during campaigns that are beneficial to them, and it's hard to explain in very short periods of time, because when you're in campaign, you have minute seconds, you have voice clips, you have mailers, you have milliseconds to be able to explain things to people. And it's easier to say to someone overdevelopment because it's popular, or say to point the finger at somebody, but it's harder for the person to defend and turn the finger back and say, well, this is the reason.
It's hard to defend when they don't debate, because I asked Bermudez many times.
Yeah.
And on the last show here with Juan Carlos Esquivel, I challenged JC to come here and talk to me and tell me about these things, or to talk to you, or to talk to anybody. I don't care who interviews him, but he won't show his face.
I think there needs to be fair understanding of issues, right? Because JC has a lot of experience and knowledge in what has happened in Doral, because he's been there since the beginning. But it's also easy to turn.
Come here and discuss it. You won't discuss it. Everything.
I'm happy to sit down and talk about like how certain things have gotten approved.
Chrissy, we have council meetings at 10 a.m. and no one shows. Well, we had zero comment. One comment yesterday. We had nothing to do with the issues on the agenda. One comment, and now we're finally live. And you have a council meeting at 10 a.m. We used to have them at 6 p.m. way back, and those were productive.
That's so. I think what happened was, because of COVID, the governor allowed for each city to create their own rule for.
But before COVID, it was 10 a.m.
But what we would do at 10 a.m. was the ministerial approvals, things that we didn't believe that really had a lot of input, because they had to get done. But it was important that topics that needed, community engagement and involvement. Or what I always said was, if somebody in the community wants to talk about something that's on the morning agenda, email us. We can always pull it and put it at the 6 p.m. meeting.
When you don't have the person in front of you, it's not the same thing.
But that's, I don't think that the meetings should only be at 10 a.m. They should be at 6 and at 10. Yeah. At 10 and at 6. Because the truth is, when we only had our meetings at 6 in a city like ours that's growing so much, look at it happens to me now at the school board. Our meetings start at 11. We don't take a break. We don't stop to even go to the bathroom. And sometimes we're there till midnight. Wow. It's a lot of stuff going on. So in a city like Doral, where you have so much development and just growth in the city, those meetings can take a long time. Mm-hmm. So what happens is, when we used to start at 6, we would be there sometimes till 1 or 2 in the morning.
I remember.
Yeah. And it was a time of tremendous growth and change. So what we did was we split the meetings to be a little more efficient with our time and be able to talk about consent items, because what happens now, the reason the meetings are so fast is because no one discusses anything. Everything gets put in consent.
I asked you about that.
There's no discussion about anything. And it's like, just let administration do everything, which I don't necessarily agree with.
We had that discussion. There was an item on the agenda that I saw to spend $15,000 on a newspaper that never does anything for Doral, instead of spending it here, or Miami's community newspapers, or even Doral Family Journal, which those two are publications that have spent a lot of time and invested and given us back so much for our community.
And there was no discussion on it.
No discussion.
Because
and I wonder why.
It passes in consent. So what happens is, very few things. So they've changed a lot of rules that I was never in favor with. I was very vocal when I disagreed with things.
So it's hidden on the consent agenda. It gets passed.
There's been a lot of changes to how you can put things on the agenda. We're elected to be able to legislate, right? That's what we're there to do, legislate. And they took those powers away from the council, from the voters, really, because the voters are the ones that elect us. So council members are no longer allowed to put things on the agenda. You have to submit it to the manager's office. It has to go through a vetting process, and then the manager decides whether they put it on the agenda or not. And then it doesn't come with your name, which I'm fine. It's not about the credit, but it's like, okay, how do you hold people accountable? Yeah. How do you hold people accountable to say, you ran for office for XYZ? How do I know you did XYZ if I can't go back and look at your record of what you've done,
the state Senate, the Congress.
Recently, they've passed a couple of things that I've been very against, and I've sent my emails as a family from Doral. My husband and I have sent our emails expressing our discontent with votes that have been taken, and the answer has been, oh, the attorney brought it forward, or speak to since when does the city attorney create legislation in our city.
But
The
it's
city
so-
attorney is there for legal sufficiency, not to create legislation. But again, they say, and I have the emails, so straight from the elected officials, oh, you can speak to our city attorney about it. I don't want to speak to our city attorney about it because he's not the one voting on the item. If he's bringing something forward, it's because someone asked him to do it, and I want to know who.
Let's be straight.
So
Let's be straightforward here.
That's where I'm upset about some of the things that have happened. Unfortunately, there's nobody up there right now that questions.
Nobody
anything
questions anything
that's being done.
No, but if you look at the last election and you see where the monies came from, they were given to the what do you call them, the candidates. You see the same people donating to the persons that in my opinion were chosen to come on that council.
Well, I haven't done that. I haven't done that forensics.
There's no
but
controversy anymore since you're gone.
I'm much more focused on the impact that the decisions that are being made make to our residents.
So let's talk about decisions. Where's the money? What is our budget right now? What do we have in our budget? What do we have?
So
what do we have reserves?
Before I left, our budget was 73 million. There was a couple budget amendments that were made that I was not there for. And we should have about 50 million in reserves, give or take. We may be a little bit less, a little bit more, because again, there were some budget amendments where money was rolled over. But we should have about 48 million, 50 million almost in reserves.
I asked in January. We got monies from the county for during the COVID.
Well, they just got $12 million
For what?
From the CARES Act.
And where are they going to spend it?
That is a great question, which I intend to ask, because when COVID first hit, I was the first person to say we need to help our businesses and we need to be prepared to provide some type of support. And
I asked in January how much money has been given for the first CARES Act money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in January, public records request, I think it's 2774. I can look it up. Mm-hmm. And I still don't have an answer. It's still pending if you look into it.
Well, that's against a state statute 119 because it's readily available. That's readily available information.
I'm not giving that information, but you know what? It's not enough money.
But
why do we have $52 million in reserves and we're losing businesses?
What I said when this happened was, and I understand, it's not our job, like it's not our responsibility to float. It's not our money. It's taxpayer money. But at the end of the day, if the city is not thriving and the city is not... So
you use the taxpayers' money like the council just voted. You can tell me more about this. The council voted themselves retirement, right?
Pensions.
And pensions for J.C. Bermudez and the Klan. I call it the Klan. So they voted themselves a pension.
Yeah.
So that's city money. That's my money. That's your money.
I don't disagree with you.
And we don't want to help businesses out. As I've said,
I don't disagree with you one bit. We could talk about the pensions. I'm adamantly against.
Oh, that upset me. That upset me. When we're not helping businesses.
I was surprised to see the mayor's vote on that because he was always against pensions too.
Oh, come on.
But I want to say that
you were surprised about that.
I was surprised because we always talked about our city being financially stable and a city that was prosperous because of the financial decisions we've made. What really upset me was if you watch that meeting, no one even asks what's the financial impact to our city. It was never even asked. Like, what is the financial impact to the city?
You feel my frustration right now?
At the end of the day, that's going to cost. I mean, it could cost our city about $4 million per elected official. That is, for example. Not to point them out, but JC and, for example, Pete Cabrera, they've served for longer than 8 years. So they also get, it's not just the 8 years, you get 12.5% for every year additional you've served of the equivalent of the last 2 years of your salary. So the mayor makes close to $100,000 a year. Okay. So they would make that 100% of that for the rest of their lives. So like $4 million if you live to the age of 90.
So let's go back and calculate.
It's a lot of money. I agree.
Great numbers, great calculations. Thanks for saying that, and really pissed me off, by the way.
It's insurance too. It's not just salary. It's 100% of your insurance
for
you and your family.
Let's do the math. Okay, you're the only dissenting vote. Right. Before last election.
Yeah, which funny enough that they did the pensions in January right after I left.
Funny enough, wasn't it? Okay, so let's do the math here. Let's do the political math here. Okay, you were the only dissenting voice, unfortunately. And fortunately,
and I want to say I wasn't the dissenting voice because
you were the honest voice
because I wanted to be problematic
because you cared, because you were real.
I just fundamentally did not agree with the decisions and the management and the leadership that was taking place at the time.
That's why I want to do this math.
Because it's not about being the dissenting voice. It's about being the dissenting voice for the right reasons.
For the right reasons. Thank you for saying
I voted with them 80% of the time, probably even 85, 90% of the time, I voted with the council. We voted because it was the right thing to do many times. But when it wasn't the right thing to do, I was very vocal about my belief on why I didn't think it was the right
And
thing
you
for the
took
city.
a lot of slack, and I saw those council meetings. I see those council meetings, and you
Took
were
a lot of disrespect.
a
which
lot
is
of disrespect for
unfortunate.
you, and you
Because
were
we don't
so.
we can disagree and be disrespectful, and I think that that's something that this
I don't
entire
know.
country needs to.
I don't know how you did that. I don't know how you did
Yeah,
that, because
we can disagree
so
and
many
still be
attacks.
respectful of each other, and I see that now on the school board, the amount of respect there is for your colleagues.
That's the way it's supposed to
We
be.
disagree on a lot of things, but every issue we deal with is highly personal, because you're talking about the kids, you're talking about children, you're talking about teachers. So every issue is highly personal, and we disagree many times, but we're respectful.
Now, let's go back and do the math. As I said, okay, so we've got JC Bermudez back again. Okay, then we have Cabrera. Okay, so you got the two buddies that have been there forever. Then Monies and the support. JC was behind the support of Digna Cabral, and this year he was in support of Mariaca, Claudia Mariaca, and he was in support of Puig. And the money show it. The contributions show it. So what happens now? We have a 5-0 vote. Is there going to be real government in Doral anymore, since we don't have let's call it the honest vote that we had from you?
Well, I mean, I hate to say follow the money, because a lot of those donations I received too, because of my relationships I've built in Doral. And I believe that when people invest in your campaign, they invest in your ideas, they invest in what you stand for, they invest in the contribution you give to your community. That's really honestly how I look at it, right? And it's hard for me. I hate asking for money, but unfortunately it takes money to run campaigns, right?
Yes.
Let's just be honest on how that works.
I learned how
if you
JC
don't have
had
money
what,
to run campaigns,
it was
you
well
don't
over
win.
200,000. I think it was 3. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It was well over $200,000 in contributions.
I was outspent by my opponent probably 3 to 1. I think they spent like $375,000 in their campaign. I didn't get even nearly close to that. If you ask my consultants, I'm probably the worst fundraiser, because I hate to do it. I hate to ask, but I truly believe that if someone gives to you, it's because they believe in what you stand for and what you're going to do in the community. And if you don't believe that, then don't give to my campaign. Like, I'm very, very straightforward about that. Will there be real leadership in Doral? Absolutely. I think that there is a great opportunity for leadership in Doral.
When we change the 5 of them, right?
Well, no, you only need 3 votes, but
3 votes. Yeah.
You only need 3 votes, but I think that there's great opportunity for new candidates. I'm a little concerned because they also passed another ordinance besides the pensions.
Oh, the voting one. Tell me about it.
So they changed the requirements for running for office in Doral. And here's the thing. They masked it behind this, we want better qualified, ethical people to run for office. Well, so do I. Doesn't mean I think you're ethical or qualified to run for office. There's people who are sitting up there right now who don't, I think, have a GED, and that's all they have. So I think that it is not up to the council to decide who is right and qualified to represent me as a voter. So what they did with that ordinance, in my opinion, is they ripped away the rights of voters to decide who runs for office. In this ordinance, it basically says that the council can take a vote to remove anybody from the ballot if they don't believe you're qualified or meet the minimum qualifications. It's not for you to decide. You put it in the charter. The residents decide what is the minimum qualifications. And then if someone has a problem with it, they take it up with the elections department to have that person removed, or you challenge it through the courts, the right system, not allow the council to come in for political reasons and take people off the ballot.
No one has challenged that. It hasn't been constitutionally challenged.
Well, the thing is, you need to be an affected party to challenge it. So somebody would have to run for office. They would have to take them off for them. Now, here's the thing. I questioned this too. I sent an email. Me and my husband sent an email to the elected officials, and we were told, speak to the attorney. He brought this forward. Okay, so we did a Zoom with the attorney to ask, and the attorney basically said to us, if you're worried about running for office in Doral, this is not going to affect you. And I said, it's not about me or my husband. This is about people who want to represent the city. This is a fear tactic, and it's not right. Now, to pay the qualifying fee, you can't pay it from your campaign. You have to pay it personally. What if someone doesn't have the money to pay it personally? You can't even reimburse yourself, but they want to represent the city. They should have that right. Constitutionally, and JC is an attorney. I'm surprised that these things have passed in our city, because it is unfortunate, and it hurts the city, and it hurts representation in the city.
But you know how it works? Because no one stands
Well,
up.
there was no question. It was all about we want better leadership, and that's how it got passed.
Someone called me the other day about something on the agenda, and Manny, are you going to go to the council meeting? I said,
it's
wait a
closed. You
second.
can't go.
No, it was open.
Oh, okay. So they opened it again.
I can't go, but can you go? I was just testing the person to see, because I got involved a lot in prior years. Got involved a lot. Got slack. Got nothing done because it's all I saw was how you say it in English, rancor, anger, tactics. When I applied, when I filled in the paperwork to run for mayor, 45 minutes after I got a letter from the city attorneys asking me for this, asking me for that, challenging the validity of our chamber. And let me tell you, we are a valid chamber. We're a great chamber that works for our community, works for our businesses. All right. Well, unfortunately, now we're having to do it.
With this ordinance, they'd be able to take you off the ballot if they felt that
you know what's sickening right now? I have to work without the city. We actually rejected the city's membership. Because of all the aggression we got from the city attorney. And I got all this from the city attorney, and he couldn't tell me who told him to do that. All kinds of paperwork and bylaws. We're all legal. We put that all on the website now. DoralChamber.org/transparency. You're challenging me. You're politically hitting me because I ran against you. And now, no, wait. Let me tell you this. Let me tell you how bad this is. So everybody knows how bad things are right now, because the mayor just told one of our publications that myself and our VP were in this for the money, that we're running the chamber for the money, personal growth. Well, let me tell you, look at our finances anytime you want. Our books are open. Okay. And I'll tell you, and that's, can you believe a mayor of a city not supporting your local chamber, bringing in another chamber that does nothing? When we fight hard, we got Taste of Doral, we got Best of Doral, we support our community, we bring every grant out there, so you have an opportunity to get these monies that the city of Doral doesn't give you, by the way, okay? That we get from mom and pops, the county, we get from RISE grants, from Comcast, all PPP, all this stuff, all this information was out, and then your mayor doesn't support. So controversial question here, because we got 1 minute to go here. Are you running for mayor?
Oh no, I let me be very, very clear. I have not, I'm very happy being able to do what I do. I do miss the city. I do, absolutely. And by the way, that's never been taken off the table.
But I've heard rumors.
Everybody knows that I wanted to run for mayor. It's not a secret. I love the city of Doral. It's where where I live, where I work, where I play. I've invested 8 years of my life growing the city. It really hurts me to see what's happening, the leadership that we have right now, and the lack of involvement or the lack of wanting to involve the community.
It's embarrassing.
So I don't take it off the table, but it would be in the future, or right now JC has 4 years, and then he's termed out.
Well, but there's rumors that,
but those are rumors.
He's going to run for city.
I don't feed into rumors unless he officially announces and resigns out of deference for the current mayor. I will not make any official announcement.
Great.
If he announces that he's running for county commission, well, then I have something to consider. But right now, there's no consideration for anything. I'm doing my job 100%. Invested into our schools, into our children, and I love what I'm doing right now. It's very fulfilling.
Thank you.
And I have colleagues that respect me.
So happy that you won. I voted for you. I pushed for you. So happy. So one more thing. We always finish off with that. This is something Michael Miller loves to do, and perfect. I want you to look into the camera, directly into the camera. I guess it's that one, and give our kids some points of motivation. This is fantastic. This is great timing. Some point of motivation, what they should do in their lives. Just pump it up and give our kids a great message.
So this is a perfect time to do that because it's the end of the year. So I'm so proud of the resilience and the resourcefulness of our students this past year, as well as our teachers. It's been a tough year, but we made it through. The parents too, because a lot of parents were home as teacher, mom, cook, coach, everything. So have a great summer, enjoy it, stay safe. And what I would say to our students is, never let anyone rob you of your imagination, your curiosity, and your creativity. You only have one life to live, and you should live it the way you want to live. So I think I love it. I think that that
deserves an applause. Okay?
We have an amazing community, an amazing group of an amazing diverse community, an amazing group on the school board, really leading this charge and focus on the right things. So I'm very proud of our students this past year and of our community who has really shown how to work a pandemic.
All right, I love it. I love it. Well, this has been an amazing show. I'm glad you accepted my invitation. My name is Manny Sarmiento, Doral Chamber of Commerce, and
we have so much more to talk about.
No,
at some point,
let's come back.
I'm still a Doral resident.
Again. All right,
and I believe very strongly in having good, effective leadership and government that meets the needs of our people, meets the needs of our community. We didn't even get into the bond. So $150 million bond. Let me tell you, now at the school board, we have a $1.2 billion bond. I know what it is to see audited bond reports monthly. That's what I'm telling you. That's the experience that I've gained, that I'm like, wow, when I look at the reports I receive now and how I receive them and how I was receiving them in Doral, no comparison. Not to be disingenuous to the people who do the work, but it's just a big difference.
Tommy's kicking us off, but one more thing. JC Bermudez, you're invited to come here and talk to me, or come here and talk to Cristi and defend those points. I want to hear from you. I don't think you're going to show up. Thank you so much. My name is Manny Sarmiento. Thanks to the Miller family, Miami's Community Newspapers, Carmen Lopez, our VP, Asai back in the office, Tommy, our producer. God bless you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Manny.